Hey guys, this is Robin, PajamaAffiliates.com, and this is a really spontaneous video. I wasn't really planning on doing it. I'm tired, and I've got this thing going on where my jaw was swollen, like somebody punched me last night. I was sleeping or something. I have no idea, but it's just really weird. But anyway, probably if I wouldn't have told you, you might not have even noticed, but I guess it bothers me, so I'm just saying it. And my den is a wreck. You know, I got a cat tree back here with a yoga mat sitting on top and all that. But I don't know. I've been seeing all these videos in Carla's group, and it's kind of inspired me. And somebody last week, I think, we had a little drama in the group that went on a couple times, and somebody asked me, or expressed some interest in if I created a course on how to run a Facebook group. Well, I'm probably not going to create that course. I don't know, because to me, it's not a big thing. But I will just give you a few little tips, okay, about running a Facebook group. Because let me tell you, Facebook groups can be profitable. Probably 80% of my income comes from that group. And that being said, some people, have told me, well, why don't you just limit it to people that have bought your courses? I've done that before, but it doesn't leave me much room for expansion. And I kind of like the diversity. I kind of like it. But anyway, rule number one with a Facebook group: you must leave your own ego at the door. You cannot be attached to being right. You just cannot, because everyone is different and everyone's coming from a different place. And the only way I can really drive this home is to actually use an example. Sometimes from time to time, drama does come into our group, but it is very, very rare. And there is a reason it's rare. A lot of it is like attracts like. I'm a pretty peaceful person, so I think that's kind of the people I attract, but it doesn't always hit 100%. Sometimes, I will attract a different crowd, or someone will, I don't, you just don't know how it all works together in the beautiful grand scheme of things. But I'm jumping around. But when drama happens, last week when it happened, and I'm not going to go into details at all, my first instinct is, oh my God, I've got to delete that thread. That's not going to work. You just can't delete a thread because it's displeasing to you. Because it was displeasing to me. And I'm not even, I could go, and I'm not going there. But I'm struggling with that. But that's my ego. That's my ego, wanting to go, oh, but anyway, I'm not going to do that. But if you delete the thread, then you have all these people that don't feel like they were heard. And you delete the thread, and what happens is they start creating new threads about you deleting the threads, and then you're going to really get attacked. So you just have to let it play out. You just have to trust. I mean, if it's people getting ugly and all that, yeah, that's a different story when they're, but a couple of people getting nasty and ugly, I trust that the members of this group can see through that. And I don't have to control that or protect them, because I trust that y'all are all grown. And that's kind of how I see these things. And I know that I'm just kind of throwing stuff out there. And I'm going to tell you, me and Leslie were talking, and we're like, oh my God, we're going to have to delete this. And then, and then another thread. But the result of not deleting that thread was we only had one spinoff from it. We could have had 10 or 15 or 20, and then the whole group would have been taken up by that. Because what you resist, meaning if we would have resisted that, deleted that thread, will persist. We could not have silenced the people that wanted to be heard. We had to let them be heard. And, and and a lot of people don't understand that, or they don't grasp that. But when you go in and you start trying to control things, that's when you lose control. Sometimes you just got to take a deep breath, maybe go for a walk, walk away from the computer. That's what I do when things like that happen in my my big, not little, my big online world. I just walk away when it starts feeling uncomfortable and uneasy, and I just have this trust that it's supposed to work out, because that's tip number one for running a Facebook group. Leave your ego at the door. You do not always have to be right. Do not attach to that. Detach from that. Rule number two is you cannot control. There is no point trying to be Gestapo and running around controlling things. Makes people uncomfortable, and they don't feel safe there. They just don't. They're scared they're going to post something wrong or this or that. You cannot. That's tip number two. I don't even know if I'm going to have a tip number three or not. But you just, oh, I do have a tip number three. Please do not put your pinned post with a ton of rules that every new member has to read through and like and demand it. We welcome every member in our group. We say, please read the pinned post and jump on in. That's what I say, or whatever. I mean, half the people aren't going to read it. Some people have their own agendas when they come in, and they'll weed themselves out. And that's another thing. Tip number four, you really should rarely be deleting people out of your group. You should have an open enough platform where they kind of start realizing they don't belong and they delete themselves. They just leave. Doesn't always happen that way, but 9 times out of 10, it usually does. People will come into the group and they see that it's not the kind of place that they thought they could just maybe come solicit. And some people do come in and solicit. If anybody ever does solicit you, do let me know that, because I do have my boundaries. And if you are getting solicited by another member in the group via private email or whatever, let me know and I will take them out. That's a boundary. Okay, you do have to have boundaries. So basically, that's pretty much it with running a successful Facebook group. But the number one best thing I can tell you is leave your ego at the door. It's not about you. Some people ask questions like, how often do you post a link to your own courses or whatever? To be honest, I don't think I've posted one in about, I don't know, it's been in the last 2 weeks, maybe 1 or 2 times. I do it when I feel moved to do it. And right now my mind is focused somewhere else. I'm focusing on these Kyle C's classes and things that I'm taking, and that's why I haven't been here very much lately. I am spending the day mostly doing the exercises, and you have to do that. And I could jump on a whole new subject in a whole new video here, but I won't. But anyway, that's my 2 cents about running a successful Facebook group. And I'm leaving out the most important part that most of you are thinking about. Well, how do you profit from that? Because people start to trust you, and they start to research you, and they start to look for what you do, and then they feel safe, and so they buy your products, even if you never even post a link. Posting the link does help sometimes, I will tell you that. But basically, that's how it works. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.